All right, Vinny, go ahead. The Raw Show. Monday Night Raw.
The show sent me into we'll get to it, but sent me into multiple meltdowns.
This one?
Yeah. And I realized...
This was a better Raw than usual.
When I calmed down in hindsight, I realized that the things I melted down about were not anything new or out of the ordinary or different. I'm just running out of time with this show.
You're running out of time? Your life is...
It's going to kill me.
Wow.
So, I don't know.
Have you ever thought that maybe that might be a slight overreaction?
No.
All right. Well, let's see what you were so upset about.
All right.
And we've got Craig here to play Sean.
Randy Orton came out for a promo. His first sentence was, in fact, he was not going to cut a 20-minute promo, speech, or monologue. He was true to his word. He showed Seth Rollins curb stomping him all those months ago. He called Rollins out. Instead, he got the Helmsleys with Kane and Big Show. Steph did all the talking. I've been a big Steph supporter for the past, year and a half, 2 years, whenever she got great. But she was very bad here. And it didn't help that she had god-awful dialogue, such as, I don't think you can forgive Seth Rollins. I know you can forgive Seth Rollins.
Yeah. That's good writing.
So they went back and forth for a bit.
26 writers to come up with that line.
They went back and forth for a bit. And eventually they invited him to a business conference. And then they started to leave, and just as they were about to get to the stage, he called them back and said, wait, I accept your invitation. I will see you there.
Now, while Randy did not do a 20-minute promo, he got sucked into a 20-minute promo.
Yes.
Because his promo was 20 minutes long, and the conclusion was they were going to go have a business conference.
The conclusion was, we will do another promo later.
Steph was wearing this dress that enhanced her.
I know that the first thing you were going to say was something about Stephanie's curves.
Okay, so...
And Craig has got his hands out and he's cupping his hands in front of him.
It's the hand gestures more than anything he's saying.
Hold on. So here's the joke. So they're sitting in the ring and this dress is hugging all of Stephanie's curves. And JBL, as God is my witness, says, look at the size of those giants in the ring. And I was like, yeah, JBL. Okay, go ahead.
I figured out why you were on the bright side.
That's what he came up with in that segment.
Yeah,
she has huge tits.
That's
the best the money can buy. Bad News Barrett versus Dolph Ziggler. The theme here was everything good happens during commercial breaks. First of all, Barrett started a promo during the commercial break. He was already talking when they came back. Then, Truth was also out on commentary. I guess he also has a win over Wade Barrett. The gimmick is, in fact, and the announcers were pointing this out by the end, the Intercontinental Champion is on a losing streak and a slump.
That's absolutely correct.
But he is still the Intercontinental Champion. Wade threw Dolph into Truth during commercial, and when they came back, Truth was just sitting there. He didn't care. So it appears we're going to do Wade versus Dolph and Truth and perhaps Dean Ambrose in a random four-way in WrestleMania, because nothing says biggest show of the year like a bunch of losers fighting for the loser belt.
Yeah, I'm expecting even more men to be involved by the time this is all said and done. Just a bunch of guys losing and then having a match together to determine the biggest loser.
So the match was good, and the crowd liked it. And eventually Dolph dodged a corner charge, hit the zigzag for the win. And then Dean Ambrose came out with the title belt to mock Wade. He had a stare down with Dolph. He bumped him as he left the ring. He never acknowledged Truth, and that was that.
Yes, Craig?
The match was good. That was the bright side.
Yeah.
And Truth is wearing a spiffy red sweater that I much enjoyed. That is all.
Every comment you have about all of these matches involves what people are wearing.
It's Mr.
Why is that?
It's Mr. Brightside, buddy.
There's nothing else nice to say.
Okay.
Match was good.
It was a match.
That's good by their standards.
I guess so.
As we shall discuss. The Authority had their meeting backstage. Seth Rollins and Randy Orton were standing next to each other. Tense, but not just throwing punches. After this man, as they said, stomped on Randy Orton's head and tried to end his career.
Yeah.
Just sitting, talking.
Just hanging out with each other, you know?
We had more atrocious acting backed up by atrocious dialogue. Stephanie said their group was so powerful that, and I quote, dominance is child's play.
Yeah.
Do these people ever exist in the real world?
That talk like this?
Yeah. Well, the writers. Who do they know that says things like dominance is child's play?
Well, these writers are all young, Vinny, and they've spent a lot of time playing video games. And
Shitty ones.
I'm sure dominance is power is a common term in bad video games. I don't fucking know.
Another thing. Stephanie McMahon. When the script calls for you...
Lots of curves,
No,
right, Craig?
no. Well, yes, but when the script calls for you to interrupt someone, fucking interrupt them. Don't let them stop mid-sentence and then begin speaking. This is 7th grade drama class shit. This is what set me off, by the way.
I can tell. I didn't like when she talked down Seth Rollins and made him look like a...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what. She emasculated him, as they say.
Yes. Everyone on the show exists to be belittled by Stephanie.
That's right. This did nobody any favors, least of all Seth Rollins, who's supposed to be your top heel. He looked like a geek.
So it ended with Orton and Rollins shaking hands. There were very few moments that I enjoyed in the show. Forget segments. There were moments I enjoyed. Big Show putting his hands on Seth's and Randy's shoulders and smiling like they were all one big happy family. I enjoyed that.
Yes, that was all right. Hey, anything Big Show does that does not involve him having a match with Roman Reigns or Daniel Bryan,
Yes.
I'm fine with.
Ascension versus Prime Time Players. In this segment here in the first hour of the show, the Ascension did an inset promo calling out the Bushwhackers because they were going into the Hall of Fame. Everyone write that down. They couldn't even show a video of the Primetime Players reunion. Cole had to explain it in as dry and boring a manner as possible. So boring, JB had to yell at him for being boring. Cole also referred to Victor as Vintner.
It's an easy mistake. There's another Vintner.
They got the heat on Young, who then made his own comeback. You have a partner dude tag out. And then Titus, his only spot in the entire match was to knock a guy out of the ring. Ascension hit a double team slam that was so bad it was actually embarrassing. There's two of you, lift the fucker. And finally, Young won with a small package, so the Ascension are no longer undefeated. And then the Ascension beat up Darren Young and Titus O'Neil to make sure absolutely nobody in this segment gets over. This show sucks.
Yeah, this wasn't the best. I can't believe they beat the Ascension. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're the Ascension, and everybody thinks that they're numbnuts, but, they'd been pushing them. They were undefeated. And they decided they were going to beat them on Raw for no reason by the Primetime Players.
Really, by Darren Young by himself.
By Darren Young by himself in a fluke, and then they beat the guy up afterwards. Mm-hmm. This segment did suck. I was not infuriated. I was just baffled. I was just baffled throughout a lot of this show. I don't get mad.
As Mr. Brightside, I'm just happy Darren Young is not being punished for his Twitter outburst just a few weeks ago.
Well, he's going to get punished by going on the road with the Ascension.
Wow.
Word.
They'll get the last laugh, don't you worry.
Roman Reigns came out for a promo.
I mean, seriously, there's no other reason to beat these guys on TV unless they're going to have a house show feud. They're going to have to wrestle the Ascension every night and be beaten by them.
They're coming to Seattle here in just a few weeks.
Are they really?
You didn't
I was
know
unaware
this.
of this. I knew they were coming to Portland. I didn't know they were coming to Seattle.
There's a house show on the 14th, I think.
Oh, a house show.
Yeah.
I want to get my tickets now.
You can sit by me and my wife and my son.
What about that?
It'll be fun.
March 14th, a Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can do.
Roman Reigns came out for a promo. Got mixed reaction, but more cheers than boos. He acknowledged that at the pay-per-view, a lot of fans have been rooting for the other guy. At this point, Bryan interrupted. He also got boos because they've killed him so well. And then Daniel Bryan cut a great promo. Said Reigns won the Royal Rumble. He earned a Mania shot. People started booing that, and Bryan said, I'm not one of the ones booing you. Oh, excuse me. He said he was one of the ones booing Reigns. Called himself the biggest Roman Reigns doubter. Said Reigns has strength in size and athletic ability, but he had seen dozens of men with those qualities who did not have half the heart Bryan did. He knew it, the fans knew it, and that's why the fans don't like you. And everyone cheered. Then Bryan had challenged him, and Roman had proven that he had more heart than anyone knew. And then the fans started to boo, and Bryan said he didn't care. He fought with everything he had. Roman had beaten him fair and square. All he had left to say was congratulations, and he shook Roman's hand, and there was no one else he said he'd rather team with to face Orton and Rollins. And he told him to go beat Brock Lesnar. So
This was the one segment on the show that you approved of?
sure. Go ahead, bury it. Whatever. I don't care.
Well, I don't know.
I wish I wasn't playing Mr. Brightside right now.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Hey, play Mr. Brightside about this segment.
I can't.
Daniel
Okay, Barry,
Bryan
tell me
is-
why I'm wrong. I don't mind hearing. Believe me, there's nothing I'd love to hear more than, Vinny, you're an idiot. This show was awful.
Okay, I'll tell you why you were an idiot and this show is awful. Because the people actually do like Daniel Bryan. And granted, the guy that WWE is going with is Roman Reigns. It's not the guy that everybody wants to see. But they still had Daniel Bryan as a very, very popular guy. He's not going to WrestleMania to face Brock Lesnar, but he's a very, very popular guy. And the idea here was he was going to endorse Roman, and everybody was going to cheer Roman at the end. So, unfortunately, what happened was he came out and was cheered. He did this promo. Nobody turned and cheered Roman when it was over, and more people were booing Daniel Bryan the longer he talked. You hurt both guys in this segment. I mean, in theory, on paper, it was a good promo. But Daniel Bryan came out of this less liked than when he went in, and Roman Reigns didn't come out of this any more liked than when he went in. So I would agree that this segment sucked.
Compared to the stuff they did with Roman and Bryan leading into the pay-per-view, this is a vast improvement.
Sure. Next part.
So then Paul Heyman came out. He congratulated Roman, put him over like $1 million, said he would be favored over Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, Steve Austin, bunch of guys, up to John Cena. He said Reigns was the right guy at the right place, but the wrong time, because now he had to fight a beast, and Lesnar was going to kill him. And Roman talked about the stare down he had with Lesnar on the Snowed Out show. He repeated he was going to beat Brock. The fans were giving him the what treatment, but they did cheer when he was done. And then I wrote, this was a very good segment.
Paul did a way better job. I'm not saying Daniel Bryan did a bad job, but Paul did a good job because if people don't like what Paul's saying, he's supposed to be booed. But they gave Bryan a role where he's just less over now. It's been happening week after week after week.
I ranted about that at the pay-per-view.
Killing Daniel Bryan.
They've murdered him.
Well, they murdered him worse last year when he was running away from Kane, but
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Usos versus Tyson Kidd and Cesaro had a very good, very non-formula tag match. Once again, all the cool stuff happened in the app. Lots of pin breakups, and the longer it went, the more chaotic it got. And Tyson tried to pin with his feet on the ropes, but Naomi shoved them off. And Natty ran over and shoved Naomi down, and since she was already over there and already shoving people, she also shoved an Uso off the top for the DQ. This DQ made sense. They built up to it as things got more and more chaotic throughout, and at the end, the heel who was already involved threw away the match to save her the titles. Fine. It's all fine.
man, this show's turning around, Craig. Tell me about Naomi.
She's
she's
good-looking woman.
Yeah, she's hot. But
Oh, something about the match.
yes.
Oh, wow.
Kid and Cesaro are an awesome tag team. They have been an awesome tag team for a long time. Nobody was as happy as I was when they won the titles the other night on the you don't call it pay-per-view anymore. What do they call it?
It's a pay-per-view.
Okay, pay-per-view.
It ain't free,
And
although it was this month.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm just spouting facts.
Yes. Spouting.
Very important.
I'm glad that the whole team is now heel.
For the moment.
Yeah, Natalia and Kid seem to be getting along. Just
That'll
fine.
change next week, I'm sure.
Bright side, Brian.
Yeah.
Bright side.
Vinny, is your credit card downstairs?
Actually, thank you for reminding me. Yes, I think it is.
Why is your credit card just randomly downstairs?
Because I used it to pay for pizza, and I forgot to put it back in my wallet.
I see.
Thank you for bringing that up. Did
You may thank my wife.
Just text you? Yes, okay. Now I'll probably forget before we go, but there you go. By the way, it has my name on it. Should not be a great mystery.
Well, she didn't ask, is this Vinny's? She says, it appears Vinny's credit card
I
is down
see.
here.
Okay.
So I said,
Got
was
it.
your credit card downstairs?
Got it. Okay, yes, that makes more sense. Miz and Mizdow had a meeting backstage. Miz said the only thing he had not done in the company was winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal at Mania. That's a huge goal because Lord knows it worked so well for Cesaro. put him into a giant tailspin, which has taken him the rest of the year to recover from.
And he ain't recovered.
No, he's not, but he's better now than he was a few months ago.
That's true.
Miz Dow said he was getting offers for commercials and leading man roles, and he thanked Miz for the opportunity, and Miz blew this off and ordered Miz Dow to roll the lint off his jacket. He recapped Bray Wyatt's spooky promo from the pay-per-view, and then he cut another spooky promo backstage. Stardust versus Jack Swagger. After 2 minutes.
He's so mad, and all I can think is, who cares? They had a match, and, well, there was your favorite finish, now that I think about it.
Well, no, it's my second favorite finish, but
Yes.
they did a distraction finish. They went 2 minutes. Goldust came out to distract Stardust. Swagger put on the ankle lock. Stardust immediately tapped out. Meltdown number 1.
This was number 1?
This is the first meltdown.
Christ, what was the rest of the show earlier?
Parts of it I liked. But as I said at the start, yes, I've seen this 100 times before. It's not like this is new or shocking. It's erosion. They've eroded my soul. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. You do not build a program to make me want to see two men fight by having one of those men lose in 2 minutes. In a logical, rational world, Stardust would be off next week's show, and Jack Swagger would move on to a more difficult opponent. But you know what's going to happen, don't you? Jack Swagger won't be on next week's show. Stardust will be, probably making Goldust lose. And then the two losers will fight at the pay-per-view. I am so sick of this. I am so sick of pay-per-views being the worst guys on the roster instead of the best. I'm sick of being insulted every time I watch this show. I blew my energy earlier when this actually happened.
I was getting ready to take my headphones off, but you just stayed at a low level. To be fair, Vinny, since I am also Mr. Brightside, nobody believed me when I said that Truth was going to get a shot at the title after he beat Wade Barrett. Sure as shit, he's now in the title picture. So maybe, Vinny, next week, Jack Swagger will be facing a more difficult opponent.
That would help, but more to the point,
You still have two losers
yes.
that are going to continue
That's the key.
causing each other to lose
Yes.
all the way to the pay-per-view.
And I'm sick of it. I'm just sick of it.
I'm shocked it took you this long to be sick of it. I was sick of it like 5 years ago when they did that three-way with Ray and... Who were the other two guys? It was like Ray and Edge and Angle or something like that.
Ray and Orton and Angle.
Ray and Orton and Angle.
Mania, that's what you're thinking of.
How the fuck many years ago was that they were doing this shit? And that was with three guys in the main event for the title.
Like I say, they eroded me.
Go ahead, Craig.
John Cena. Oh,
I'm sure you've got something very positive to say about
I
this.
do.
Oh.
I do, actually.
Stardust outfit.
Stardust went back to his full bodysuit
Wow.
instead of just the tights and the weird gloves.
How about that?
Yes.
Clothes again.
Mr. Brightside.
Sure.
he must have sat down and said, I have this many shows till Mania. I will need this many different outfits, and then bought them all.
This
Maybe.
is a young comic book loving millennial who's living his dream of being the Joker.
By wearing Catwoman's gloves?
Sure.
Okay.
Got to mix it all up. He's living the dream.
Cena came out for a promo. He
That
said
was his dad's job, by the way.
he lost to Rusev, but he had Rusev staring in the eyes of defeat. When did this happen?
Well, you know, when he
I seem to recall Rusev kicking his ass, then cheating and kicking his ass more.
almost powered out, he would have won, he said.
Called Rusev a coward. Rusev and Lana came out. They all jibber-jabber for a while. I didn't give a fuck about anything at this point on the show. Cena wanted a rematch. Rusev said no. The Russian flag dropped, and then I wrote, fuck this show.
That's amazing, because this was the best segment on the entire show. This is the best feud in all of WWE right now. John Cena as the second guy on top, underneath the main eventers. He's just having his little feuds, cutting promos against the evil Russian. Rusev promos are always money. Setting up a match at WrestleMania. John Cena does the big challenge, and then Rusev just says, no, you're a quitter. I refuse to accept this match. And he left. This was awesome. Best thing on the show.
All right. Orton and Rollins and J&J Security had a meeting backstage, and they all agreed to work together.
You couldn't even find anything good to say about that segment, Craig? As Mr. Positivity.
You took it all.
It was
That
awesome.
segment was tremendous.
That's right.
And
Back me up here.
They just, no.
And you want to talk
Was the
curves.
best. I'll tell you about it.
Rusev's thick thighs.
Vinny.
Seriously, though, his thighs, when he was standing next to Lana, his one thigh is twice as big as both of her thighs put together.
Twice as big?
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy. What a big guy. What a big fella.
I'll tell you.
Them Russians. Where were we?
He's Bulgarian.
Duh.
It's a gimmick, Vinny. Go with it. You think I called Hanson today and said, "Hey, Todd"?
No.
No, I called him Warbeard when I called him on his personal phone. Is this Warbeard? It's wrestling. He's a Russian.
So Paige did her entrance. Then they went to commercial. Then they showed the head coach of the Tennessee Titans in the crowd, which was a mistake. Because apparently no one checked, and the Titans suck, and everyone booed this man. Then we got my favorite thing on the show. The Sting profile video. This was awesome. They recapped Sting's entire career from the flat-top surfer boy to the longer-haired surfer boy to the NWO invasion to Sting turning to his dark side, fighting them off as the company's last hope. I also like how every time Sting won a world title, they showed all his friends rushing to the ring to celebrate with him. Because all of the good guys, in fact, liked each other and celebrated each other's victories, and winning titles was a big fucking deal worthy of a fucking party.
Wow.
So, they showed all this, and, well, that's introducing Sting to people who may not have known him because he has not been on a major stage in 15 years.
I love that Vinny is now playing the WWE party line. Never mind that Sting was on national television on Spike TV
No
in
one
front of
important
1.5.
watched that show.
There were 1.5 million viewers every single week for that show.
I still insist it was one guy with 1.5 million cable boxes.
Wow. Well, it wasn't me. I only got one.
Yeah. No one watched Impact, dude.
And goddamn, he was great when he was in TNA.
He had some great moments, but no one cares. These fans, no one, they don't know, and they don't care. It doesn't matter. So, Paige, you recall, had come out long, long ago. I actually timed it. It was literally 10 minutes from her entrance to the point this match started. And she was out there for 10 minutes so that her tag team partner, Emma, could get pinned by the Bellas in 30 seconds.
Correct.
This was where I could take no more.
This?
Not, like I say, not that I was dying to see the Bellas have a boring tag match for 5 minutes. No. But why even bother going through the motions of putting this out there if you're just going to give them 30 seconds and have someone get pinned? What is the point of the show? What is the point of the segment? What is the point of my life? As soon as the ref counted 3, I hit stop on the DVR. I almost hit delete. I turned the TV off. I put on my shoes and my jacket, and I went outside for a walk. It's beautiful. It's hard to believe it's winter here. Mm-hmm. It was the high 40s at this point. It actually got up to like the 50s. Flowers are blooming. Birds were chirping. I live in a gorgeous community. Hills on either side, mountaintops, trees everywhere, blue skies. Just walked around, looked at the mountain for a while, soaked it all in, realized I haven't hiked it in a while, I need to go hiking again. Recall that last summer, I was actually married at the foot of this mountain. What a great day that was. It occurred to me how lucky I am to have met the woman with the biggest heart in the world, a woman who doesn't just tolerate my cranky, grumpy ass, but she actually appreciates it and, dare I say, loves it. It's amazing. I have things in my life to appreciate. I need to take the time to enjoy those more often, rather than dwelling on the things I do not enjoy. So, after about 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes, I went back. I sat down on the couch, wrote up about my my little walk, watching the moon, even visible at noon, climbing over the mountain, and I sat down to finish this shitty show. So,
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's all just take a deep breath. Dave, please.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Boy, he swept me away there.
Let's continue.
Speaking of hills and mountains.
Yes. Naomi.
Icky.
Oh, Jesus.
I wrote 400 words about my walk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, we had a lot of space in that newsletter.
It'll be in the newsletter.
Hey, at least it was short.
So when I got back, I was horrified to learn the prior segment was still going on.
You'd paused it.
Well, the match ended. I thought it was done. But no, the match went 30 seconds, so they had time for Paige hitting Brie, and then Nikki hitting Paige, and then Brie walking away fine anyway. I don't know what the point of all this was. So, at this point, they teased the announcement. Stay tuned, everyone. We're going to tell you who's going into the Hall of Fame next.
Yeah.
I realized, actually, the ratings grew. So, you know what? They were new viewers. But an hour ago on the show, you motherfuckers told me the Bushwhackers were going to the Hall of Fame. I was there. I wrote it down. So, yeah, the Bushwhackers are going to the Hall of Fame. They never existed before 1989, and the Outback is apparently in New Zealand. That's what I learned from this video.
Yeah.
Curtis Axel was in the ring pointing
What
at
the
the
hell
media
do we
sign.
need to do Nitro reviews for, or
I don't
Impact reviews? This is, I haven't seen this passion out of Vinny in I don't even know how long. It's been a while.
About 3 weeks?
No, it's been no. This is new.
I was, as I went through my walk, trying to determine...
Get the music.
No, it won't be that long. If I could, what I would make doing some other jobs, and if I could replace this income with those jobs, and at the end, I did not think I could. But I don't want to watch Raw ever again in my life. Curtis Axel was in the ring pointing at the Mania sign, wearing his new Axel Mania shirt that will sell no shirts. Declared he was still in the Royal Rumble, had been there for 29 days and change, and was setting a new Iron Man record with each passing second. He said he was going into the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Ryback came out and said, "We used to be one of the greatest tag teams of all time."
That was a blatant lie right there.
Even Axel looked confused.
He was full of shit.
Yes. He said he was going to win the Battle Royal, and then he said, this is a quote, "The big guy is going to take the X-Man to Smashville."
And you know what's funny? The big guy then proceeded to take the Axeman to Smashville.
Yes.
Exactly as he'd promised.
I hope this leads to Curtis Axel getting squashed each and every show until the big battle royal, and then I hope he wins it.
Hey, he may.
That's exactly what they would do, actually.
Yeah.
Look, everyone, the geek beat everybody else. Everyone's Rollins and Orton versus Bryan Reigns in the main event. The best part of this was Bryan's running wild early, and he teases a tope, but Orton is there to drag his buddy Seth Rollins to safety. So the heels all meet in the corner at ringside, and they're having a huddle to discuss strategy. And Big Show gave Seth Rollins the following advice. Better watch out when he does all that fancy stuff.
Hey,
Words to live by.
That's what the Big Show is for.
That's right.
He's got a whole career worth of knowledge.
Yes,
that he
2
can-
decades of experience in dealing with fancy stuff.
Grizzled vet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Heels got the heat on the app because, of course, they did. The yes chants here, Bryan made a comeback. The yes chants were the most heated moments of the entire show. He put Rollins in the yes lock, but Orton was there to make the save yet again. He went on for a while. Roman got a hot tag. Stuff with Orton and Reigns was actually really good. And then the finish kind of sort of redeemed the show a little bit. Orton's running wild. He's about to hit the DDT on somebody. But Seth blind tags him in. Orton is pissed, and he goes out on the floor to yell at Kane and show what a disaster all this is. I was pissed because the whole blind tagging in so I can get the pin thing. They did this with Bryan and Reigns a few weeks ago. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. I want my baby faces to all get along, and I want my heels to all get along. Is that too much to ask? I want black and white, good and evil. So seconds later, Bryan blind tagged himself in, and Seth's response was to laugh it off. Or Roman's response was to laugh it off. And Cole noted, look, everyone, Roman is laughing it off. He is not whining and crying like Randy Orton. So at least they acknowledge that petty stuff like bitching about who gets the pin is stupid stuff that dumbass heels do. So the good guys won. Bryan hit Seth with a knee and pinned him. And then Orton teased a punt to Rollins. Shawn and Kane were out there on the floor saying, no, don't, stop. And Noble hit the ring, so Orton hit him with an RKO. And then Orton pulled Rollins to his feet and patted him on the shoulder and walked out. So they did the breakup angle months ago. We saw the comeback on the pay-per-view 24 hours ago. And now they are just starting over.
That's why I was baffled when you said that this redeemed the show. The two segments on this show that caused you to flip out, two of them, I thought were two of the best segments on the entire show.
The
two of the
Divas
worst
match?
things. Sorry, I fucked it up. The two things that you liked were the two things that I thought were two of the worst things on the entire show.
I see.
The Daniel Bryan thing was stupid because they turned Daniel Bryan into an idiot. And this thing here at the end, this main event segment, for the love of God, they had footage of Seth Rollins stomping this guy's head. He was bloody. There was blood on the No Blood show. This beating was so violent. The guy is gone for 4 months. He's pissed off. That's all he can talk about. He makes a big triumphant return, and everybody is going crazy and cheering for him. And instead of just pulling the trigger and he's back to being a top babyface, they've got to write a story. He's got to go out there and go back with the fucking authority. And is he really a heel? Is he not? Well, he appears to fucking really be a heel since he was working against the babyfaces in the main event. I mean, how many times have we seen them fuck up the turn? Alberto Del Rio. Remember when that guy turned babyface and they fucked it up so badly? And there was another guy that, I think it may have been Randy Orton, where in fact it was. There was that Randy Orton deal where he had been a heel and he was getting over so big that intelligent people were actually saying, this fucking guy may be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's how big this guy is getting over with the babyface if they just pull the trigger. And instead, they did the waffling back and forth. He turned, he didn't turn, he's back with the heels, now he's a babyface. By the time he turned, nobody gave a shit about Randy Orton. They ruined it. And they're doing the same goddamn thing again, where instead of just having the guy come back after 4 months in a vicious beating and being your top babyface, or one of them, now they're doing the waffling gimmick. And by the time they pull the trigger, they'll care, they're going to cheer, but they've already fucked it up. And if they keep doing this next week, they're going to fuck it up more each week.
With all of that said,
This I gotta hear.
With all of that said, it was nice to see Randy Orton back in the ring. Even though he's not a new guy, he brings something new to the show that we haven't seen in a few months. And down the line, it's going to lead to an amazing Randy Orton and Seth Rollins match, and I'm okay with that.
I'll remember you said that. That match is coming at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
I think it will be good. Don't know if it'll be great. Had the potential to be great if they would have made him a big babyface. Anyway, that's Raw, everybody. Mixed feelings on this show from all sides. Let's play a song, and then we're going to do this contest here. Stand by, all my friends. Yes, I made it into 2 syllables. Gunner! 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 Gunner!
Sorry, can you say his name one more time?